Welcome back to our Italian adventure series,
Found the church.
Part 4, and today we've made it to Calabria. This region is famous for its ghost towns, and we're headed to one of the eeriest ones of them all,
So this is a dead river.
Roghudi Vecchio. As we drive through Calabria, it's clear this isn't Rome or Sorrento anymore. The highways feel emptier. The town's a little more worn down. Calabria is one of Italy's poorer regions, but that's part of its charm. It's not polished or picture perfect, but it's real.
Looking for the ghost town. Feeling a little car sick on these windy roads.
We've heard stories about this drive to Roghudi, one of the more dangerous drives in southern Italy. The road hugs collapsing cliffs as it winds through Calabria's mountains, land long rumored to be under control of the mafia. It's breathtaking, yet the higher we go, the more the isolation settles in. Before reaching Rughudi, we pass through a few mountain villages that almost look abandoned themselves. The first is Galiciano, a tiny place built right on the cliffs. Only about 60 people live here today. What makes this place special is many of them still speak the Greek dialect, a remnant from when this area was part of Magna Graecia centuries before Italy even existed. The next village is Roccaforte di Greco, which shares the same heritage. It's crazy to me that people live this high up in the mountains.
You can see the abandoned town from up here.
Now the road gets really sketchy. It narrows to barely one lane, carved straight into the mountain. Just sharp turns and drop-offs that disappear into the valley below. You can feel your heart race with every bend. This isn't a road for the faint of heart. Down below lies what used to be the Amendolia River, now completely dry, just dust, rocks, and silence. Crossing this withered and cracked bridge was a little bit nerve-wracking. For a second we wondered if it would hold up, but we pushed on because now we can finally see the ghost town up close. And here it is, a haunting place where time stopped decades ago. As we walk through these ruins, old homes, stone stairways, and doors left wide open, it feels like stepping into another world. There's not a soul in sight, just the sounds of the wind moving through the broken windows and the birds circling above. It's lonely, but breathtaking and sad, all at the same time. Roghudi was once a thriving mountain town, but in the early 1970s,
That's creepy.
a series of violent floods and landslides struck this area, destroying homes and roads. The land beneath the village started to crumble, and the government declared the village unsafe. By 1973, every last resident was forced to leave. A new town, Roghudi Nuovo, was built closer to the coast.
It looks like they were trying to build.
And the people here never returned. What's left now is a silent monument to the past, walls slowly collapsing and nature slowly taking over. Walking here, it's impossible not to feel something, a strange mix of awe, sorrow, and respect. Rughudi stands as a reminder of how quickly life can vanish and how even the strongest communities can still be humbled by nature itself.
Found the church.
Here in Roghudi stands an old church, one of the few structures still speaking of life that once was. I couldn't find any definitive sources naming it, but the churches in Roghudi were central to village life, where services were held in a mix of Italian and ancient Greek dialect, where festival bells rang across the village. The architecture in here is absolutely humbling. Given Roghudi's foundation in around 1050 AD, many of the religious institutions here date back centuries with layers of refurbishment over time. Roghudi was once home to over 1,600 people. It was a thriving community living in isolation, speaking a Germanico dialect, mixing ancient Greek of Magna Graecia and local Calabrian speech. But life here was never easy. The village clings to rocky slopes, leaving it exposed to severe natural threats.
That concrete floor is not stable.
The final straw was in 1971, when 2 catastrophic floods followed by landslides made the area entirely unsafe to live.
Hi, Lorelei.
Staring down at the dried up Amandalea River, I couldn't help but imagine what it looked like when it was flowing. Inside some of the empty homes, there are still some signs of life.
Wooden rafters.
Faded wardrobes, broken chairs, personal items half buried in dust. Some of the houses show newer wooden rafters, remnants of attempts to patch roofs, and fresh plaster in parts. Small signs that someone maybe tried to repair or preserve. Construction tools still appear in some areas, perhaps left when evacuation became haste. Yet, even amid the decay, scenery takes your breath away. The mountain silhouettes rise against the sky's jagged ridges that must have dominated every field of view for the villagers. Imagine waking up every morning to those peaks, the river rushing below in its green season, and the wind bringing scents of pine and wildflowers as well as olives. It must have been wild, beautiful, but harsh. Daily life shaped by steep inclines, by the long climb to reach the water, by storms, and by isolation. The sublime beauty here seems intertwined with the struggle. As we drive away from Roghudi, the road becomes even more sketchy, narrow and winding, but the views grow more dramatic. On the terrace below, farm life carries on as goats graze, cows move in herds, and shepherds tend to their land. This region is known as Bova. I kinda wish we had more time to adventure here. It sits perched on a cliff at the top of the Aspromonte Mountains. It's another one of Calabria's Greek-speaking villages. Founded in pre-Roman times and later settled by Greek colonists, Bova eventually became a fortified Norman stronghold. I would highly recommend stopping here on a little detour after visiting Roghudi if you have the time. Now we are arriving at Pentedattilo, the second ghost town on our adventure. It's different from Roghudi. Though largely abandoned, parts of it have been revived. There's a church, the Church of St. Peter and Paul, restored and used for occasional services and concerts. Even though some of the buildings are beautifully renovated, others are silent and broken. The contrast is striking. For those seeking raw, ghostly beauty, Roghudi may beat Pentedattilo, but Pentedattilo offers comfort alongside mystery. It's easier to get to and more inviting. There's a mixture of old and new here. Leaving the ghost towns behind, we return back to the coast. We are now back in Tropea, where life is in full color. The world feels changed for us though, based off what we've seen. Back here there's music, joy, and lots of festivities. An Italian mariachi band plays classic songs while a bride celebrates and people dine under the stars. It's beautiful, but for those whose curiosity stretches towards the uncanny, towards places that breathe of absence, Calabria offers Roghudi. Roghudi is a place where emptiness isn't just lack, it's atmosphere. It makes you wonder what used to be, letting your imagination run between history's legends and the voices that once lived there.